Hey friends, welcome back to the art room. Mrs. Nolte here. Today we're going to be making an Earth Day project that I think you'll all enjoy. So let's get our materials together. Our material list for today is going to include watercolors, some water and a paintbrush, a round coffee filter, paper towels, a pencil, some type of a round plate. I'm using a paper bowl and markers. You're going to be using a large piece of drawing paper. I wouldn't use copy paper because it'll be a little too thin. You need something a little bit heavier that has a heavier tooth and a little bit thicker. So I'm using drawing paper. I'm going to trace a circle using my plate, and this is going to be our earth. Now, inside of the earth, we're going to paint it, but we're going to paint it using a coffee filter. So I'm going to take my filter and I'm going to fold it 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And the only reason I'm folding it is to make it so it fits in the cup of water a little bit easier. We're going to dip the coffee filter in the water and allow the water to soak in and saturate the filter. You want to make sure the whole filter has water on it. We're going to open up the filter so we can see the circle shape again. And we're going to lay it inside of our circle. If your coffee filter is bigger than the circle that you drew, that's fine. Just scrunch it in. I'm pressing out all the air bubbles so that the coffee filter is attached to the paper. Now I'm going to pull out my watercolor pan. And I'm going to be using blue, green, and yellow for my earth. I'm adding a tiny drop of water to each pan to wake up the paint because the paint's been sitting and it's still sleepy. I'm going to start with some yellow, and I'm going to add my continents by drawing some organic shapes with the yellow paint. Then, between them, I'm going to add some blue for our ocean. I'm going to be careful to stay inside the circle that I drew so that I keep our shape of our planet. Each time I go to paint, I add a little bit of water onto my brush, and then I gently roll the brush in the pan. You're going to need to reload your paint each time. Now, on top of the yellow, I'm going to add a little bit of green paint. I used the yellow first so that the continents were a little brighter. And we also know that when yellow and blue mix together, they're going to make green. So here I'm being careful to go around the outside edge, keeping that nice round shape. So I'm looking at my planet right now and I realize I have some white areas in it or a little bit light blue, and I want to make it a little bit more vibrant or a little brighter. So I'm going to go back over and just touch up a few of the little spots so that I can make this a really bright planet. There we go. So we're going to have to let this dry for a little bit. Okay. Now that it's dry, I'm going to carefully peel off the coffee filter, but I'm not going to throw the coffee filter away. I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to grab my markers, and I am making little oval shapes with my markers around the earth. And I'm going to use a lot of different colors. So I just use some blue. Here we go. And I'm going to mix them up. So I have purple and orange, some red, some yellow, some green. You can pick your favorite colors. These little ovals are going to turn into trees and plants, flowers, bugs, animals, anything you might find living on the planet. So I'm going to make my little animals. We did our ovals, and taking a black Sharpie or a black marker, I'm going to go around and use these black lines to create all kinds of little creatures that might be living on the planet. This one's going to be a ladybug. And this is going to be a little tree. And make another little ladybug over here. And you notice that I'm turning my paper around as I'm working. I'm going to make a little yellow bunny over here. Some of these are, they look like Ed Emberley illustrations. So if you're looking for some inspiration, you can check out Ed Emberley's drawings. And he does some wonderful little drawings using black markers and little colored shapes. A little blue sheep. So you're just going to go around and continue to create little animals or plants or any fun little creatures you'd like to add to your planet. All right, so I'm finishing up here on my little creatures that live on my planet. I'm gonna add one more, like a little horse here. And add one left. Okay. And I'm going to turn around and find how I want to display it. I'm going to display it this way. Don't forget to sign your name. And there's your planet for Earth Day. Great job, everybody. So next thing I want to show you, if you don't have a coffee filter, hey, how do I do this project? Well, you can do the same thing by using wet tissue paper. If you don't have a coffee filter at home, you just wet down the tissue paper and pat it down into the circle. Make sure you keep it inside the circle shape though. And you really want to saturate that tissue. Make sure it's nice and wet. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the watercolor paint. And just fill that in with the blues and the greens. Try to make sure you stay inside your circle so that you get your planet shape. When you're done filling it in, you want to make sure that it dries just like we did with the coffee filter. And when it's dry to the touch, you can take the tissue away, and you're going to get a planet. It's going to be a little bit lighter than the coffee filter print, but it will still look like a planet. So this is our one done with the tissue paper. So friends, I hope you enjoyed today's Earth Day project. I enjoyed making this with you today. If you stay to the end of the video, I have a little quick project to do with those leftover coffee filters that we painted. So see you next time in the art room. Hey, don't throw out those coffee filters. We're going to make some flowers with them. So early this afternoon, I was trying to find some little wooden dowels or skewers to make the flowers out of, but I couldn't find any. So I decided to go out into my backyard, and I grabbed some twigs that had fallen off some of the trees to use as stems. We're going to take the dried coffee filters that we used with the watercolor paints. In the middle, we're going to cut a tiny little hole. Boop. That way we can slide them onto our stems. There we go. I'm using 3. You could use 1. You can use a couple, whatever you have laying around. Underneath, I'm going to pinch it and then add a little bit of tape at the bottom, at the base here, so they don't fall off. So I'm going to grab a little bit of clear tape. You could use whatever you have. And I'm going to tape around the bottom of the coffee filter, and this will keep it from sliding down. And there you have it. These are really fun to do with other colors too. So all you have to do is wet the coffee filter and put some watercolor paint on it. There you go. You can make a little bouquet of them with some twigs and some old coffee filters. All right, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time in the art room. Bye everyone.